FAQ and HowTo Schema at step level, maximizing machine readability. Structured data helps search engines and AI assistants understand your content. In practice, carefully marked up FAQ and HowTo pages can be picked up as rich results or used by voice assistants. For example, Google notes that a properly formatted HowTo can appear as a rich result on search and a HowTo action for the assistant. This article is a practical playbook for marking up FAQs and step-by-step guides granularly, down to individual step titles, images, and durations, so that machines can extract answers and instructions reliably. Why granular markup matters. Search engines and voice AI rely on clear signals. When you use schema.org markup, you are explicitly labeling pieces of your page, questions, steps, images, etc., so machines know what they are. As Google's documentation explains, structured data is a standardized format for providing information about a page and classifying the page content. This standardization makes it easier for Google search and assistants to find the exact answer or instruction a user is looking for. In tests, pages with detailed HowTo or FAQ markup are more likely to have their content used in voice answers or rich snippets. In short, granularity equals better visibility. The more clearly you tag each question and each step, the more accurately an AI can quote or guide users with your content. FAQ schema best practices. When marking up an FAQ page, use the FAQ page type with nested question and answer items. Key guidelines include full question and answer text. The markup must match exactly what's visible on the page. Google's guidelines say to make sure each question includes the entire text of the question, and make sure each answer includes the entire text of the answer. Invalid or missing words can prevent the rich result. Use the required properties. Per Google's instructions, your FAQ page JSON LD needs at least one main entity of type question, each with a name, the question, and an accepted answer containing text. Ensure you add the required properties as Google suggests. Follow content rules. Only one answer per question. No user-submitted answers, and make sure the FAQ content is visible on your page. Hidden or purely promotional Q&A is disallowed. If your FAQ content appears multiple times on the site, mark it up only once to avoid duplication. Structure the HTML logically. Often each question is a heading, e.g. an H2 or H3, and the answer is one or more paragraphs beneath it. This visual structure helps both users and scrapers. In the markup example from Google, each question is wrapped in an item prop equals name heading, and each answer in an item prop equals text div. Using headings for questions ensures clarity. Google recommends validating FAQ schema with the rich results test and fixing any errors before publishing. In practice, mark up one page and test it immediately. Tools like Google's rich results test or the official schema markup validator can catch missing fields or syntax issues. For example, typical mistakes include forgetting to set @type question or missing the accepted answer block. By following these practices, an FAQ page becomes machine readable. AI assistants can reliably extract each question and answer pair. Some competitive sites use expandable dropdowns for Q&A, with each question as a clickable heading and its answer in a hidden/visible panel. This still qualifies as visible content if implemented correctly. The key is that every question and answer you mark up must also be present for the user on the page. HowTo Schema best practices for steps. For step-by-step guides, use the HowTo Schema with HowTo step and optionally HowTo section items. Important tips. Set the top-level HowTo. Give the guide a clear name, and an optional description. For example, how to clean a stovetop, step-by-step, and a one-sentence intro. This is the value of the HowTo's name and description fields. Use a step array. List each instruction as a separate HowTo step object in the step array. According to Google-friendly practices, each step uses @type HowTo step with position, name, and text. The position, an integer, and name, a short title for the step, are required to indicate order and brief summary. Then add a text property with 1 to 3 sentences explaining that step. For example, include durations. If you know the time, add total time for the whole process in ISO 8601, e.g. PT 30M for 30 minutes, or break it into prep time and perform time. Google and Schema guidelines recommend using ISO 8601 durations. For example, total time PT 30M indicates a 30-minute task. Yoast docs also flag total time as optional but useful. Add media and tools. If your steps have images or videos, include them with each step. In JSON LD, you can add an image property, URL or image object to a HowTo step. This helps AI and search generate carousels of step images or make content more engaging. For tool lists, include supply or tool arrays of how-to supply, how-to tool objects if relevant, e.g. ingredients or equipment. Recommended how-to properties include image, estimated cost, and supply tool lists. Remember to set in language if not English to help with language-specific extraction. Use anchors or IDs for steps. If your page is long, assign a fragment link to each step, like step 3, and include it in the structured data as the URL for that how-to step. The Yoast schema pattern suggests using a unique @ID, such as the page URL with schema how-to step 123 and a URL field pointing to the corresponding anchor on the page. This makes each step explicitly addressable. Headings for readability. Match each how-to step's name with a heading on the page. A pattern to emulate, use an H2 or H3 tag for the step title, the name, then a paragraph for the step description, the text. Structuring the HTML with headings ensures both users and algorithms see where each step begins. It also means screen readers and assistants can navigate the steps sequentially. By following these patterns, your how-to pages become very clear to machines. For example, one SEO guide notes that proper how-to markup tells Google that your page contains step-by-step instructions and can display each step with its own text in search. In fact, Google may show a carousel of step images or an accordion list of steps. An SEO article highlights 2 possible rich result layouts: a carousel of images, if each step has a distinct image, or a traditional list view of steps. In practice, you can try both. Adding images to steps activates the carousel, while a simple list is easy and familiar. Content patterns to emulate. Looking at successful competitor guides and SEO examples, common patterns emerge. Title and overview. Start the page with a clear title, often in an H1, and a short introduction describing the goal. Use the same title in your howto.name or FAQ page.title for consistency. Time tool summary. Right after the intro, include a brief summary of total time and required tools materials. Many how-tos have a what you need list or an estimated timeline. Mark these up under supply, tool, and total time. Step sections. Each step should be a self-contained block with a heading and at least one image. For example, a cooking guide might have step 3, bake the cake, as an H2, an illustrative photo, and a paragraph explaining it. The step title will feed into the schema name, the paragraph into text, and the image into the image property. FAQ at the end. If you include FAQs on the same page, list them at the bottom or in a sidebar. Use questions as subheadings H3 and answers in paragraphs, then wrap them in schema. This way, search engines can pick up both the how-to specs and the FAQs from one page. Consistent structure. Use bullet lists only when the transcript of bullet items is short. For longer explanations, break into multiple steps instead of one list item with substeps. Each list item in a how-to should ideally correspond to one how-to step, not a mix of steps. Emulating these common structures helps AI programs parse your content reliably. For instance, an SEO expert notes that list-style step markup allows each step to have a few lines of text to explain the step, which is clearer than lumping all text into one blob. Testing and QA workflow. After adding rich markup, test thoroughly. Here's a recommended workflow. Code review. Before publishing, paste your JSON LD into a schema tester. Use Schema Markup Validator for full schema.org compliance. And Google's Rich Results Test to preview how Google sees it. The Rich Results Test shows a preview of the snippet and flags if any required fields are missing. A/B testing. Try variations on a few pages. For example, compare one guide with step images and durations versus another without those fields. Track performance, click-through, search impressions over time. Even small schema changes can have measurable impact on rich result eligibility. Search Console. After deployment, use Google Search Console's enhancements reports for FAQ and how-to see which pages have valid markup and how many errors or warnings appear. The Google Search Central blog highlights these new reports for monitoring your structured data performance. If errors appear, fix them promptly. Automated checks. For large sites, 10 to 15 guides or more, use Webmaster Tools. A recent SEO guide suggests a 4-step approach. Quick snippet test during coding, the rich results test before launch, the official schema markup validator for deep spec checks, and finally Google Search Console for overall monitoring. You can also crawl your site with tools like Screaming Frog. It has a schema tab, or write scripts to extract JSON LD for batch validation. Content QA. Periodically review the rendered page as a user. Verify that every FAQ answer and each step's text appears on screen, and that images load correctly. If you updated HTML headings or added anchors, confirm that the structured data still matches the page. Any mismatch between the visible content and the markup can cause Google to ignore the structured data. Markup playbook checklist. Wrap every FAQ in schema. Each question gets a name, the question text, and accepted answer with text. Use FAQ page at the top level. Tag each step. In how-to pages, give each step its own how-to step with position, name, and text. Include any image or URL anchor for that step. Add meta properties. Include total time, prep time, and/or perform time, using ISO durations when possible. If relevant, add estimated cost, supply, tool, etc. Use correct JSON LD format. Place your script type application LD plus JSON in the page head or right after the content. Ensure it's valid JSON. Check for errors/warnings. Run the rich results test to see a preview of the rich snippet. Address any critical errors. Warnings, e.g. missing optional fields, are less urgent, but consider filling them to enrich the result. Update regularly. If the content changes, e.g. you add a step or expand an answer, update the schema immediately. Then retest to confirm no new errors. Monitor performance. Watch in Search Console for any drop-off. If rich snippets disappear, revalidate the structured data. Sometimes search features are updated by Google. For example, FAQ-rich results now favor trusted sites, so be prepared to tweak or remove markup if Google's criteria change. Conclusion. Well-structured markup is like giving AI assistants a clear blueprint of your content. By following schema best practices at a granular level, tagging each FAQ and each how-to step with its own fields, you make it easy for machines to read and use your content. Use headings and images to support your markup, and always validate with Google's tools. Regular A/B testing and Search Console monitoring will confirm what works. The result? Your answers and instructions are more likely to appear in search results and power voice actions, driving more traffic and engagement. In short, by mastering FAQ and how-to schema down to each step and answer, you maximize machine readability and stay ahead in the evolving SEO landscape. All links to sources are available in the text version of this article. You can find the full article at autopod.co.